Well, good evening, folks. It must be Monday as it's Airfix and Chill. Hope you're well. Again, it just seems like a recurring theme for Airfix and Chill. We heard this week that a guest on this show sadly passed away in Thailand. Pete, who's commonly known as Aussie Scale Modelling, had a bike accident. I presume it was last week, Monday or something, or whatever. And then about 5 or 6 days ago, he did a video on his other channel, which is Discovering Thailand, explaining about this bike crash. And then we found out on Friday that he had a heart attack and passed away. Um, all from Airfix and Chill, we send our love, our sympathies to his family. I can't even think on the logistics of returning a body from Thailand back to Australia to be with his family, and the stresses of all that with his family. It was untimely. I watched the video even yesterday, a little bit more of it because I didn't watch it all. And he seems to be on the road to recovery. We're not here for speculation, obviously. People have said this, that, and the other, but we're not going into that. We just want to share to his family from us, the Airfix and Chill family. You have all the details. Yeah, if you could email me the details and everything. If there's a GoFundMe or anything that we could donate to, that would be much appreciative to find that out. But it's another gone before his time. And Pete, devastated that you're gone. But rest in peace, my friend, and we'll see you on the other side. So,
such a lovely person.
Yeah,
he was always upbeat. He was,
yeah,
faultless. As a person that you interact with. Yeah, it really gutted me last week. Yeah, last Friday.
yeah. I was shocked to hear it. Now, if you don't know the story on how I knew Pete, I did a review of a paint cleaning system, and I was given a couple. Here, I've dropped it now. Oh, come here. There's one of these. Brilliant little gadget. You fill it up with water, press the button, and more water, the dirty water goes in, and clean water gets put in this little tray. And he said, "Oh, I'd like one of them." So I sent him one free of charge. And then he did a review and thanked me for it. And then that's how I got involved with Jason from Outlaw Paints. He's done a lot of, he done some cracking builds. I remember him doing the bus, and that boat as well. Is it the Yamato?
Yeah.
I think he built the Yamato, but yeah. So he passed on March the 20th at about noon local time. He was on his way to get a coffee across the street from his condo. Well, bless him. And as I said, we think, and he's been on. I think he's been on here about 3 or 4 times. I did a live stream with him twice about the cost of scale modelling, I believe. So, but yeah. Anyways, again, pass on our sympathies, and and everything else. So bless yous. Right. Anyway, so I just seen. Could somebody send the link to Alex? I thought I sent the link to everyone. Could somebody send the link to Alex, please, if possible? He's just popped in. I didn't know if he was going to pop in or not. I'm sure I've been doing it individually now. I'm actually sending out emails and individual messages for this now. So he can pop in. Anyway, let's talk about TAMIYA. So I was on a private chat with Nigel. Nigel's going to come in as well at some point, and we were talking about TAMIYA, and is TAMIYA going in a different direction? Now I can't get on to Scalemates. I think they've blocked me for some reason because I can't get on. I'm getting bad gateway. I've restarted the computer. when I go onto Scalemates, I'm getting bad gateway for some reason, so I can't seem to log into Scalemates.
Sometimes
Um,
if they're doing work on Scalemates' website, they do that.
Right, okay. Well, I can't get in. If other people can get in, let me know. But we were discussing on how. I'm just going to mute you a minute, John, because your microphone's a bit loud. All right,
Oh,
but
No, it's
when you
me.
want.
It's me. The
Is
computer's
it you,
playing up.
James?
Yeah.
Is it you? Is it? All right. Your microphone's a bit loud. Do you want to mute while we talk? Because it's
I'll
like
mute
getting a lot of background.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So that's better. We've got a bit quiet in the sounds, but background noise. Anyway, so we were talking and we were wondering, like, there's been very lack of releases when it comes to static kits. I'm talking about scale model kits, obviously. Now we all know that. Oh, you got the same gateway issue. That's brilliant. That is. But I want to talk about it and use scale mates. That's great. If you look, the lack of new kits coming into Tamiya, it's fallen year on year. I think there was like 4 last year, maybe 6 last year. At the moment, I think we've got 1 or 2, and one of them is a Reeboks. So, but I came across a fascinating article with the president of, is it the chairman of Tamiya, and I'll put it up on the screen now. I hope you can all see that. Here we go, add to stage. So it's a cracking article. It's on Tamiya blog, and this is the chairman. But all he seems to be doing is talking about radial control, right from the outset. He does mention tanks, and he doesn't seem to be. Even the Tamiya blog said it's not a tank or fighter plane. It's radial control car. It's all fun. And then they say that was a surprising answer because he was thinking that they would talk about new scale model kits, but in fact, he's talking more about the RC side. I thought Chairman Tamiya would definitely mention tanks and fighter planes first. And he went, no, German tanks are not popular in Germany, the home of European models. There's a history of being violated. Speaking of tanks, it's Dr. Porsche. But Japan currently doesn't have a leader like Dr. Porsche. So Japanese tanks are not good. And then, but basically they've been giving out these little cars, which are these, what they call all-wheel drive or 4x4 cars. And basically they're battery operated and you build them. But he's on about, children should be made to make things by hand. Now, example number 2, when you go to their official website, everything is geared towards radial control. If you look at the product info here, static, radial control, everything's geared to selling radio control. Do you understand? Even up here on the adverts, you've got radial control, you've got a walking swimming penguin, the Hornet, which is, bog standard, the Scania, which is radial control as well, I believe. Then you have a static kit. Then you go back to 110 radial control. So, and then the new releases on their page was the mini 4-wheel drive, which is what this car is here. It's mini 4-wheel drive, they call it. One static model. Then you got RC mini 4x4, RC, and then you've got a static German tank, and the Stuart, which are old kits reboxed anyway, I believe. RC, it's all geared to the RC market. So the question is, and I think Nigel's going to pop on as well to discuss this, is Tamiya looking in a different direction than plastic model kits? So I'm going to put it out there, put it into the chat if you so wish, a question or a thought on this. Travis Thompson says Tamiya's business is like 90% RC. We just get what old man Tamiya wants them to design. Okay, I get that. RC has been Tamiya's bread and butter for decades now. Models haven't been their primary product in a while. I get that. Nigel's going to pop in a minute because it was him that we had the chat about. We were chatting about it. But yeah, that's basically it. Where do you feel Tamiya's going? I'll start off with James. James, what's your thoughts on this? What do you think Tamiya is doing at the moment?
Well, I think they're basically they're like doing they're playing it safe with kits, especially with their armor kits, because you've got a lot of pieces of armor they're producing, which has got say it's got potential to be retooled with a new piece of a new sprue. Say, for example, you had the Tamiya 148 scale M8 howitzer, and then last year or very late in the year, the M5 Stuart.
Yeah.
So obviously that's one. Obviously we've got Panzer 1B. Now that chassis was used under a lot of vehicles. So that means that will come out at some point as a Marder 1 potentially on their field or their anti-aircraft guns. A lot of their recent armors being in 148 scale has been disappointing.
Yeah.
It's obviously a retooling of something much older. Say, for example, their Tiger 1. There's sprues in the kit that date back to 2004.
Yeah.
So obviously we know it goes. I know it goes together because I built a Tiger 1 from Tamiya.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's quite head scratching. I mean, the last decent piece of armor I think is the Challenger 2. That's a produced. Goes together like Lego. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Was this Honda City a Fujima kit or an Ashima kit, or is this one of their own kits?
It's one of their own kits. It's an old one.
Because I was going to say the detail on it is very lax considering of a 1/7/24 scale Tamiya kit. If you scroll down, you know the sprues don't look very. You know, normally it's broken down a bit more, isn't it? It doesn't feel like a Tamiya kit, if you know what I mean.
It's like a curbside kit, to be honest.
Yeah. You know, there's not a lot there to play with, but maybe I'm just looking at it from that sort of angle. Just there, look at there's your suspension, your strut there, and there's the inside of your doors. But yeah, it just seems that they seem to be more focused on that car.
Yeah.
Okay, so Travis says the F-16C is broken down to allow for a D, but Mr. Tammy doesn't like two-seaters, so it never was released.
Well, that's actually true.
Is it true? Is it?
Because I mean, it's like the F4 Phantom. They produced a new tool in 148 scale. They haven't produced any more since.
No.
But the F-15J is a two-seater, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that from Tamiya though?
I don't know. I didn't. J.
I don't know. I've not seen them announce that.
I mean, that's an iconic plane for them.
Yeah.
2-seater Eagle Japan, it would be an EJ. A DJ.
Yeah. Tamiya seems to have been winding down the static model side of things for the last 3 to 4 years, which is exactly what Nigel said to me last night or night before. You know, we seem to be looking at that. You know, that they seem to be more focused on releasing radio control stuff. John, have you built much Tamiya recently? Or I know you've done that mini art and you did that comet, did you do the comet? No.
Yes.
You did, yeah.
I did.
The quality of that comet was very good, wasn't it, to go together?
It was A+, absolutely. Yeah. They seem to be, when they put out like a new tooling or whatever, it's a car, right?
Yeah.
I was actually kind of surprised that they put out a brand new tooling of that quality in a 135th. They've been doing a lot of 148s, which James does. He does a lot of those, and they're beautiful
I'm getting hooked on them as well, John. To be fair, that bulldozer's going together well. But I noticed there was an error on that bulldozer. It doesn't say Komatsu at the front; it says Komatsu.
Mm.
But the box says Komatsu.
That might be a licensing thing.
Licensing.
Yeah, but the model says Komatsu, but the actual box says Komatsu. So if it's a licensing thing, they wouldn't have had it on the box, would they? Surely.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Zinzan, have you built much Tamiya recently? Do you think? And what's your thoughts on the state of play for Tamiya?
I think somebody nailed it quite earlier on, which is my view on this is that the Japanese companies, of all companies, are very good at focusing on what drives the margin or drives the profit for them, and it's quite clearly the radio controlled market. In terms of moving radio controlled car buyers to static models of cars, 1/10th or 1/12th, 1/24th, that would be quite an easy move. Moving a tank buyer to radio controlled cars, much more difficult. The other point that somebody made, I noticed in the comments, and it's a good one, is there's an accessory marketplace. There's an aftermarket that Tamiya can control with accessories as well for radio control. So batteries and wheels and goodness only knows what all else. So they can profit and profit on spares is much higher than profit on finished product.
Yeah.
So they can focus in on that as well. Whereas, the odd person might buy 2 or 3 kits, of the same type. But I liken them to a high quality restaurant, Tamiya, in the sense that you have in a high quality restaurant a small number of very beautifully cooked dishes, and they're quality, but you can't get everything. So if you look at Tamiya's 132 scale aircraft range, I've got a Corsair that's on the bench now. There's a small number of absolutely beautifully made kits, and they'll continue to sell because quality stands the test of time. Yes, I'd absolutely like to see new kits from them, a 132 scale F-22 Raptor, for example, or a Northrop YF-23. I think you probably find a couple of people might buy those, if you know what I mean. And I think it would be money well spent. But if it's not core business for them and they're not focused in on it at all, then they're not going to do it. And that's where I am. No criticism of Tamiya models, but I'd like to see more of them.
Looking at new tooling, from so 2020 to 2025, they released 30. They've tooled 33 new models allegedly by Scalemates. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and we're 2025 now, so we're 5 years in, and they've done 33. But they did 115 between 2010 and 2019. Now, back of a fag packet maths says to me that they're half of what they're doing now than what they were doing in 2010 to 2019. So in 5 years, they've done 33. In another 5, we double that, that's 66. So that's half of what they were doing in 2010 to 2019.
Yeah,
and that's a scary thought. They're producing half of what they're doing. So don't forget, some of the old armor kits had a space for batteries, not originally designed as a static kit. Yeah, you're quite correct. And also, they sold they sell their kits now with Sanyo batteries. They don't actually make batteries themselves now. They use a Sanyo battery, and it's in that article. If you want, I'll put the link up so you can all have a read of it if you like. But you read it and you tell me what you think. It feels that Tamiya are moving away from the static, but I can see why, in the sense of why Airfix release a quick build. There's no painting required. All you need is a screwdriver for a lot of RC stuff, isn't it? It's mostly screwdriver and Allen keys, basically, to get them together. So whereas a static kit needs glues, paints, the tools for the job like masking tape, paint brushes, airbrushes. So, but he also mentions a lot about Magna and movies. So whether they're going to go down that route like Bandai have done, go down the Magna route, I don't know. So, question: looking at Tamiya's website, they have a huge range of different types of product. Spreading themselves too thin or spreading the risk? What do you think? Yes, that's a question for Alex because he's the man of business. Do you think they're spreading the risk or are they spreading themselves too thin, Alex?
So, having worked for a Japanese company, knowing the way Japanese companies work, they always spread the risk. They always get involved in lots of stuff. They often invest in each other. If you look at a lot of Japanese companies, they'll invest in their direct competitors often. And we're talking here, if you look at the last 5 years, they've done the same number of new tools as Revell, basically.
Yeah.
36, Tamiya's done 33, Airfix did 43. The prior 10 years, Tamiya did 111, Airfix did 111. We're talking about 1 year here where they've released one. That won't even register. So when I was working for Shimadzu, we reported in the year of the company. So while I was there, you'd be like, why does it say fiscal year 125? It's like, because it's the 125th year the company has been in operation.
Okay.
That's the kind of view they take of it. It's very long term. This won't even register as a blip in data for Tamiya. So I think you would need to see this kind of pattern for 5 years before it would even be significant. If you look at the way Tamiya do business, it's very different from every other model company. They make a tool and they release it, and they tend to keep it released for decades. Whereas Airfix will release a kit, they'll have it up for a year, then they'll discontinue it. They'll probably re-release it as a different version. We've seen that with Sea King. We'll see it with the Ferret. They have this continuous cycle, and Tamiya don't really do that. They have these you can still buy, we mentioned it many times, you can still buy the original Panther.
Yeah.
You can still, a staple of most modelers is that Panzer II.
Yeah.
Which you can get for like, what, $5 now?
Yeah.
They have all of the paints and accessories as well. So, and Tamiya is very well regarded, amongst modelers as a paint globally, not just in Japan. So I don't see them moving away from static model kits at all. Maybe now they've seen an opportunity elsewhere which has greater profitability, and they'll go for that. But if I was in the static model division of Tamiya, I would be quite safe and feeling secure of my future job security.
Yeah.
I would suggest that the static model part of Tamiya's business is more of a distribution and manufacture business than an introduction of new products. I suspect that they keep products on, in print, as it were, because they own the tools, I would suggest. What do you think?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, they do own the tools, but they struggled through COVID. They couldn't get the supply and demand, was because that's why they've opened up the Philippines. They've got a new factory in the Philippines because they struggled through COVID to get product out.
This was the case across a number of industries, wasn't it? I mean, Alex, you're in the electronics industry. The semiconductor business was completely messed up because of that. That and the fact that I think a semiconductor factory went on fire, and that messed up the supply, of course, as well.
But do you think that Tamiya can see an end to scale modeling, static models, as being part of their regime?
No.
I think they procure their brand. They care about their brand, and they look after their brand very well. I think they protect it very well, and at the sort of level that they're operating at, if you look after your brand, then it will continue to sell, because the model shops, like the most excellent Alex there, we'll continue to stock it because people will continue to buy it, and the marketing's generating not just today's customer but tomorrow's customer and the customer after that. That's what the marketing and the brand presentation is all about, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to just put my foot out here and just say that's all well and good, but just for instance, let's just look at the Tiger One from Tamiya. Okay, if you were an ardent armor builder, you would have built that Tiger One 15 years ago, 20 when you first started doing it. Then you won't buy another one. You look at the mini arts version, or you look at Academy's version to build next. Do you know what I mean? So even though the tooling's good from previous eras, scale modeling has moved on quite a lot in 20 years. And to a few armor builders, they say that a lot of the Tamiya tooling does look very tired, and a lot of it is inaccurate. So are they resting on their laurels on that?
I would say, though, so if you look at Tamiya's pricing strategy, I've mentioned this many times before, it's priced by age of tool. So that, the Panzer II, you can pick up for £5. Their new tool this year, which is the Hotchkiss H39, I imagine all that will be about £35, even though it's a pretty small tank, right? So they kind of price according to where that technology is, which is something that no other company do. If you look at Revell, they charge full whack for stuff, which was, they've got two car releases this year. What is it? The Mercedes SSK and the Porsche. I think it's a Porsche. It's a race car. They're both Matchbox 1974 kits, but they're charging 2025 prices for them. So to me, you don't really do that. I would suggest that the lack of new toolings now more represents the cost of ancillary supplies and stuff, and that they won't invest in. So if the pricing of, say, plastic or whatever it is that is affecting their production, if that's very high, they have the ability to say, well, we'll just not do as much of that this year. We'll focus on the other areas that we can check out, wait till those costs come down, because, again, they have a very long-term, Japanese businesses are generally very low risk. They don't like risk. So if a way to do that, because they've got their fingers in all these pies, they've got lots of buttons to control. So it's just like, well, we can pause off that. We can increase this one, make more paint, make more scale electrics or whatever, they want to do. A lot of other companies don't have that. ICM don't have those other strings to their bow. They just make the static models. So they put out a lot because that's all they do.
But if you look at the price of plastic, the plastic that's used in the RC market is far more expensive to produce than the stuff that's used in static kits.
Yeah, but so again, going back to the conservative nature, they may have purchased, because they do have a lot of business guys in there. They may have foreseen that particular trend. They may have big stocks of that. They may not have as many stocks of the plastics. I don't know. This is all wild speculation, right?
Yeah. But
I'm suggesting that it may be other business factors. We see it as we're only getting one new tool this year. And last year we got, what was it, four or five, which is about, to me, as kind of average if you look at it over a long time. So you're not seeing all of that stuff behind the wheels. I don't think Tamiya's in trouble. I don't think we're not going to get static models in the future.
Well, don't say that, because they were in trouble. There was a lot of rumor going around that they were in trouble, Tamiya. There was that, there was a lot said about it. Moving away or just slowing down, could be just focusing on the RC more than usual for the time being. RC has always been number one with them. It hasn't. It's not always been number one. Static models.
Static models.
Yeah, that was number one for them. You look back over it. If you want to go really back, it was wooden models that they were producing, and it was ships. You know, the first tank they did was wooden. You know, so John Christmas, Tamiya defo not the standard to reach anymore. Have been overtaken by a few companies. Yeah, in certain respects, but when it comes to build, you know, it is chucking in a, you know, it is.
But I think this comes back though to that brand,
yeah,
the brand name. If you say Tamiya, and the amount of people I get in the shop, you know, just talking about Tamiya, they haven't even tried other stuff.
Yeah.
Because they've built, you know, they might have built an old Airfix kit or an old Revell kit, and then they tried Tamiya kit, and it's light years ahead because they're probably comparing like 80s Airfix with 80s Tamiya or 90s Tamiya. And then, yeah, it is going to be light years ahead. And then they've just bought Tamiya from that point on, and that's it. They don't even consider buying a Hobby Boss or Trumpeter or Mini Art or whatever. They've never heard of them. They don't want to do that. So the brand loyalty, and this is a very strong thing in Japanese business as well. Building up brand loyalty is a big thing. It's also a colossal potential weakness, right? Because in the West, there is brand loyalty, but we're also, you know, kind of slutty about where we go.
Well, we're cheapskates. We go for cheap, don't we? That's the problem, isn't it? You know,
we go for cheap.
Yeah. Tamiya as a brand is probably as well known as Airfix. Everyone's dad's built a Tamiya such and such back in the day. The legacy will always keep the sales coming in. But that isn't a good thing to think about. The brand. Look, Airfix used to believe that. Everybody knows Airfix. You know, the legacy of Airfix will keep the sales coming in. No, because there was a time when we wouldn't even buy Airfix because people were afraid of the quality they were getting inside the box. Did you want to say something, James?
Yeah, the first kit that I have had from Tamiya was an RC car.
Yeah.
And then the other kits I built were motorbike. The first kits I built from them were their motorbikes.
I was going to say that I think that with my thing about RC,
and they still do the funnily enough, they still do the lunchbox.
Yeah. I Nigel, nice for you to drop in. I'll just say that my first RC kit from Tamiya was the Hornet, because all of us wanted a Hornet back in the late 90s. I think they came out. Was it 96, 98?
No.
Were they before then?
The 1980s kits.
Well, I remember getting one when I was leaving school. No, it must have been 94, 93 then. I had my first RC kit. It went together like a dream. And like it was said, you know, by Sophie, is it Sophie? I think she said, all you need was a can of spray paint and a Tamiya screwdriver and you were done. So, you know, why reinvent the wheel when there's there's rolling nicely? Yeah, but it's all well saying about the brand and everything, but are you not disappointed that Tamiya haven't released anything of value in the last 3 or 4 years? I wouldn't take the Lightning as value because everybody's done a Lightning. There's nothing special. I know how Tamiya does it. You're like, wow, but we've had Lightnings before. What about you, Nigel? What's your thoughts on all this? Do you think that they're lacking in this department?
Well, as I said to you the other night when we were in that private hangout, I don't know what they're doing because everything they're releasing, even the RC stuff, it's all old. It's all old re-releases, and there's nothing new coming. I mean, I put these behind me for a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, these RC tanks, they used to pump out one of them every now and again, and they don't do them anymore, do they? Really? The last one was Victorian, wasn't it? They did the Abrams, and then they're like over £1,000. I just thought of while I sat here and I can see those models in my background. The other thing is with the RC stuff. I don't know if any of you are into the RC kits from Tamiya, but there's like 3 different levels, and there's kits with nothing in them. It's just the RC car, and then you'll get one with a speed controller, which is like a mechanical thing, and then you'll get one with an electronic speed controller. But the part numbers are all the same. So like someone like Alex might have in his shop, oh Christ, I've just seen that bloody Toyota GR Yaris,
Yeah.
59 quid. I'll get that in because I can sell that for 140 quid. You can't because it hasn't got any speed controllers in it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can see on this one. There's an orange square there, and that says includes electronic forward and reverse speed controller. This one says the same. Now this one's got a tuned torque motor.
Okay.
So there's all these different levels, but you don't know what you're buying when you order it.
Yeah.
You have to be really, really careful.
How much was that M26 Pershing then?
That Pershing I've had for probably 10 years now.
Mm.
I bought it second hand.
Yeah.
It come from a shop. The front of the box is practically white where it's been faded from the sun. And I got it for about 300 quid.
Wow. That's a steal, isn't it?
And I got at the same time I bought the Leopard. I got that for 300 quid because it had no instructions.
Yeah.
And I got it as well.
Wow.
As I said, you said, you know, when you think about these things, you know, you kind of let it lie for a while, and then when you actually think about what they're doing, you are quite right. A lot of it is old stuff.
Yeah. The other thing that's got to be concerned about Tamiya is their packaging. I mean, everybody's leaving them behind.
Yeah.
Look at the packaging you get in a Trumpeter or a Hobby Boss kit. And you go and pick up, I mean, I bought a Tamiya kit. It was delivered only the other day, and it's just literally bags of sprues slung in a box. That F-35 is the same.
Yeah.
It's not even like with Airfix, you've got the sprues to match the box size. It's all just floating around in there, scratching up the tickles, you know. And it's I expect John found the same when he did that that Datsun 240Z. Yeah, that was all just loose in the box. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas years ago they used to put an individual pack in there, and all the tires and the springs and that were all vacuum packed, weren't they? If you remember.
Mm.
You know, it always couldn't damage it in transit, but now it's all just chucked in there.
Well, you basically got the like for the arm for the 148, especially 148 scale armor kits. They used to come with a die-cast chassis.
I said this to Ross the other night. Yep.
And they were nicely packaged.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now they have 3 or 4 ballast weights.
Yeah.
And they're glued to the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they were glued to the box because they end up going shooting across the box and damage the parts of the kit.
Yeah, they glue them or tape them into the corner.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
It's funny you mentioned that, Nigel, because most of the 35th scale armor kits that Tamiya produce, they rely on the chassis to stop everything moving around.
Yeah.
The chassis, one side of the box, isn't it? And everything else is just in the back. It's not really.
Aries Styrene. Alex is correct. Tell me it's about the long game. The others seem to be about the next thing to remain relevant. I'm about being relevant. It's about exciting your customer base. That's what it's. I'm pretty sure that when Airfix announced that Jaguar, because we've all wanted one, and silently they've been developing it for the last 2 years and not told any Tom, Dick, or Harry, or even Rita, Bob, and Sue. And now I reckon that there will be more of those Jaguars sold than that tank that Tamiya have put out this year. Then that's you do the math. You just think about it. I reckon there'll be more of those Jaguars sold than that French German tank they're bringing out.
No, and the reason I don't think so, Moss, is that one thing that Tamiya have perfected that Airfix are still rank amateurs at is international distribution. And Tamiya you will be able to buy that Hotchkiss anywhere in North America, in Japan, in Southeast Asia, in Europe, basically anywhere. That Jaguar.
I'm talking about in the UK, mate. Sorry, I thought talking in the UK.
Oh, right. Well, for the UK, yeah, but that's not their home market. I mean, that's like comparing Airfix in Japan, which is I expect.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that's a fair shout.
You know, so
yeah,
undoubtedly, I think they will sell more Jaguars in the UK than Hotchkiss H39s.
But I'm talking about like the appeal that but you never know. There may be people who will want that Jaguar all over the world, and it's more appealing than that tank.
Can Airfix? I mean, there's two things. One, Airfix have set production, So they have to, as Dale said last week, they'll
Yeah.
tell India how many they want. They'll perhaps overdo it because of like response and stuff, but that's their number, right? And if sales go really well, they have to order a bunch more. TAMIYA can just make, they've got the factories, they own all the stuff. They can just like, well, okay, demand for this is high, so we'll just ramp up production. Demand for this is low, we won't make as many. There's less redundancy. This is all Kaizen stuff, as Nigel will know. So, and they've got that international distribution. They can move stuff around better. If Airfix could get their shit together on supplying the North American market, and unifying pricing and all that kind of stuff, I think that's the next big step for them. TAMIYA has this pretty stable, pretty loyal customer base. And I don't think they are. I don't think they aim necessarily to be an exciting model company in the way of new announcements. I think it is a danger for them long term because they are being rapidly overtaken by other companies in terms of, like Nigel said, in packaging, in quality, in detail, in value, and all that stuff. But still, mini art. How many mini art kits can you get in Japan? It's all that thing. So again,
lucky Japanese.
Yeah.
They get
Oshima, they get Fujimi, they get all this stuff. Yeah, Bandai.
It's not surprising that there has been a change in direction. 2017 saw a change in chairman and president, and last year there's been a new president installed.
Right.
Okay, I get that.
It's taken 5 years really that direction to get. It's an oil tanker. It's an oil tanker.
Tiger one with full interior is on par with TAMIYA. It's an academy kit, but Graham, it's an academy kit.
You go back a few years. I mean, when they launched that the Zero, the 137 Zero, everybody was like, "Oh my god, it's awesome!" A lot of people complained about the working suspension and undercarriage and all that. They listened and they did the Spitfire. And the Spitfire, for many, is still today the best plastic model kit ever made. And then they brought out the Mustang, and it was the best plastic kit ever made. They brought out the Corsair, and it was the best plastic kit ever made. Mosquito, which was the best plastic kit ever made. Everything they do is awesome. So why have they stopped?
Well, that not being funny, you just answered the question. The Mosquito, it nearly bankrupted the company.
Yeah, but so did the 747 nearly bankrupt Boeing. If the 747 had Boeing would have been finished.
Well, that would not necessarily have been a bad thing.
Well,
Leave on high.
Having a good go. Although, having said that, having won the contract for the F-47, Boeing's stock went up by 7% last week.
which
I think that has more to do with who people know.
Yeah. Trading here is terrible.
Kitchen table modeler. Kitchen table modeler. To be fair, TAMIYA was packaging its RC kits the same as most of the other producers, putting out RC kits. Kyosho is the one of the few that still use card and blister packs to package their RC kits. Fair enough.
yeah, I was talking about the like you Formula 1 cars. They used to come with the body in like a card insert, and then you had card inserts with the vac formed things with the tires in, and all the springs were in vac form. And now it's all just chucked in a bag in boxes, and it can rattle around and get damaged, and that's what I was talking about. Not the RC, but the RCs have always been the same. They sort of stuff it all in the body, don't they? I mean, we can open that one if you want to. But it's all just stuffed in the body, and it's great. It can't go anywhere. It can't damage anything. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm on about the scale model kits. But the packaging in that, you wouldn't believe your eyes.
Jim Clark says TAMIYA always caters to the home market first and foremost, and I get that. That's very true. So if their home market is into RC, which is what that article says clearly, that they're looking at the RC market, then fair dues. But why? I just can't see why they've got. It's like, why have Bandai never released anything military recently? And it's all Magna and everything, and all that. anime
They
and
make
things like
a shit ton of money.
that. Yeah, true.
The other thing I think that Tamiya, like with the cars, all of a sudden years ago they lost all the tire lettering and the sponsorship on the body, so you get this Group C Le Mans car which is bare. Instead of having Shell and Dunlop and all that all over it, it's bare. The tires are just plain black. You know, whereas the Chinese cheapy buggers, they'll have good yeeb. They'll have
Yeah.
good yeeb instead of R. So you just cut the bottom of the B off to make R.
Yeah.
Trumpeter or Hobby Boss on the front of their tank transporter, instead of having Oshkosh, it's got 08 KH 8. So instead of an 8 an S, they've got an 8. So you can just carve it out.
Yeah.
It's the same as that Land Rover I've just reviewed. It's
Yeah.
over on the badge for the
Lawn Raver.
Land Raver.
Not the Raver.
That's brilliant. That one.
I'll go through some of the comments because people have actually been quite open tonight. It's been quite good.
Yeah.
Mark Gordon, I buy a fair few Tamiya kits, including 140 aircraft armor and 700 ships. You answered my question why some are so cheap. The age of the mode. The older the kits, cheaper are still very good. Yeah. When it comes to armor, Tamiya remain my favorite by a significant margin, even the older kits. Hi Nigel, your P40 Warhawk will be on the way soon. Okay. Long time ago, Tamiya had a RC sailboat kit. It was a Yamaha around the world race boat. It was a wonderful sailor. Then they stopped, and the prices are now through the roof for the one now. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
My friend had it. Beautiful boat.
I won't see that Jaguar in Toronto until 3 months after UK when the hope we lost by then. No, you won't, because by what I gather, they're shipping straight to America.
Canada.
They've got. It's Canada, isn't it? Shit, yeah, Canada. Sorry. All right. Anyway, well, sorry. Yeah, I saw Toronto.
No, Canada, you bugger, didn't you? So
I get loads of comments on my channel about availability of Airfix. Sorry, Moss. I get loads of comments on my channel about availability of Airfix in like New Zealand and South Africa and Australia. Why don't they just use Amazon? You know, I can go on Amazon now and buy a kit from America and it'll be in 10 days.
Going behind the scenes, there's a guy on LinkedIn who now works for Airfix, who is an Amazon specialist. And I think that would be the quickest route to get these products around the world is to use Amazon, what they call it?
Fulfillment.
Merchant fulfillment, innit? Yeah, merchant fulfillment. I think that would be the answer for them, is to get it on Amazon, who can ship, like me and Nigel found out, a model kit for £1.99 from Germany to me within 3 days. Or was it £4.99? It was a helicopter, wasn't it? £2.99 from Spain.
What was it? £1.99? I think it was £2.99.
No, it was a Tamiya 148 scale Raiden that came from Spain.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. How they could do that. Margaret, with Tamiya, you know what you're getting when most of the time with some other brands, quality or realism can be hit and miss. Yeah, I get that, but let's I get the realism thing. Yeah, I do get that with Tamiya. But when they release something like this, which because I was going to buy this because I really want a dump truck, okay, a special because I drove these in the quarry years ago. Now, where am I to? There it is. Now you tell me how real this looks.
It looks like a Tonka toy.
Just like a real toy.
But look at the price. Look at the price of that. That
it still looks like Tonka.
Yeah, it's crap.
That's $300.
That's £300. Yeah,
it looks like the lunchbox's older, uglier cousin.
It looks god awful.
Get a bit of weathering on it, must be fine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but a scratch building, that's what it needs. But I'm just telling you, this is an arse. It doesn't. It just looks like a toy.
Do you know, boss? It looks about the same. I bought a remote controlled. I don't know what it was. It was just like a thing, like tracked thing, but it looks very similar to that. Apart from it's got tracks rather than things. I think it was £20. So
amazing.
yeah, That's and it's a fair size. It's just like 40 centimeters long. This thing I got, ton of fun. I'm not sure I'd spend 12, 14 times as much to get something that still didn't look real.
Yeah, and I just wanted to look shit. That was all. I was going to buy that, then I realized the price of it. Then I had a good look at it. I was like, nah. If that's what they're bringing out, RC, I don't want it. Yeah, I know it's manga. I say it as I see. Like, you know, it's. I know it's manga, but fair enough. I get that.
I
haven't bought a copy of Tamiya's Panzer One. Does anyone know how it compares to Takum's?
Well, parts are easy to take off the sprue. I can tell you that without having built either of them.
Well, I built the Tamiya one, built up nicely.
Yeah.
Of course, it does the very clever things with the wheels, which Takom requires you to be a worship at the altar of Devil's Metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Takom plastic is as dense as lead.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no kidding.
Good stuff, though. Good stuff.
Takom instructions tend to be pretty crap. They have no colour call-outs. The main colour call-outs they have are generally awful, and they only reference MIG ammo paints. Like Alex said, the plastic is really, really dense, and they have this ridiculous fucking habit of putting the sprue gates on the front face of parts.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when they have a big sprue gate, and they, you know, if it's a deck on the back of a tank, instead of having it coming onto the side and going around the bottom, they're on the side and on the top.
Yeah.
Where you have a nice textured rolled steel finish, and you've now got a sand. It's like,
Why would you do that?
Chaz is saying the issue with Amazon is their packaging is horrible. But if you sign up and have it in the proper box, and also if a package comes to you and it's slightly damaged inside one of their boxes, they refund you straight away. I've had quite a few kits out of Amazon because I've got it and the box has been squashed, sent a picture in, and they've refunded me at least half, and sometimes the full amount on that product. So it's up to them. If they want to send it to him a little bit buggered, then fair enough. But Miss Modler, that's your next challenge. A Tamiya tank glove. That's what you need to do, definitely.
Do a Tamiya.
Yeah. Build a Tamiya.
Lexi can do the Hotchkiss, don't she? Because it's French.
Just one observation, Moss, just from the comments you've read out so far. You know, we talk about lack of brand loyalty in the West, but there've been quite a lot of people talking about Tamiya's reputation, you know, how they've always had good experiences, etc. And that's what Tamiya have built up over a long period of time. Now, if they rest on that, that's a risk. But it's also a big strength for them, right?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I think it's more hidden. When people say, you know, I've had the Tamiya kit with short shot before, but people are more vocal when it's Airfix than they are with Tamiya.
Yeah.
To be honest, right? There's you know, we had this discussion before about the instructions. Airfix, Revell, beautiful, good instructions. Tamiya is a bit hit and miss on their instructions.
So Tamiya are pretty old-fashioned, pretty traditional Japanese. If you look at Hasegawa, Fujimi, a lot of the Japanese companies, Academy used to do it until quite recently. They all still have black and white fold-out sheets. So you have to get like a massive, you know, it's about a meter long and 20 centimeters high by the time you got it all open. You know, and you're flipping backwards and forwards. It's horrible.
Well, to be fair,
demonstration, Alex.
the posh ones have always been books, and then the cheap ones have, rather than the fold out like Dragon does sometimes, it was just like extended. But like you say, Tamiya is only black and white. I have no problem with that. I personally can't stand Revell's instructions with all their pretty colours and everything.
Oh, you can't.
Revell's do come across as a bit Fisher Price.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit too like primary colours.
That's the instructions from Tamiya. It's like this one long.
Yeah.
To be fair,
it feels like it should have Japanese letters going all the way down, you know, written in brush.
But to be fair, that is a small, relatively cheap kit. It doesn't need to be a book.
No.
Mm.
You know, you can have that, or you can have like a rifle model with wrong part numbers and missing parts and no color callouts and
Yeah,
And
their
to be fair,
instructions.
you know, the Tamiya instructions, they might be black and white and stuff and a bit old fashioned and staid, but they do the job. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like you really have difficulties working out what they're doing. Look at border models. I mean, John, that Kate, which I still need to get around to so we can release those videos. Beautiful instruction book.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. It's got some history at the front. It's completely useless. It tells you the wrong things. It's utter garbage. The contents of it are just actually less. They don't help you make the model. They actually stop you making the model properly.
border models instructions are total and utter shit.
Yeah, it's like they were written by somebody who's, you know, it's just like somebody designed the kit, then somebody in a different room was told, write the instructions. Here are all the bits. Write the instructions for this. You can't build it. Just write what you think would happen.
I'll tell you, there's a difference now, and Moss is going to love this. Border model, they've sent me 2 kits before they were released, and I've gone through the instructions and I've sent them a snagging list, and they have completely ignored me. I think model, I got this little Russian tractor, and I gave it to Moss to build, if you remember.
Yeah.
In his build, he pointed out the steering arms are the wrong way around. In the instructions, the numbers were the wrong way around in the instructions for the steering arms. Remember?
Yeah.
They've changed it. They've ordered it.
Have they?
Yeah.
Oh dear, it's giving me an erection. That has that they've watched my video.
That's the difference in a company who listens
Yeah.
and a company who doesn't.
That's really good.
Yeah. Travis Thompson, I wish Jadlam did that. I've stopped using them due to poor packaging. Oh, you're talking, Amazon, right? Okay, so I get that. Yeah.
I don't wish anybody, you know, poorly, but
Can I just
how
say,
did
I don't know if it's because they know it's me and I've moaned, but the last 3 or 4 kits I've bought from Jadlam have all come in their lovely grey plastic bag, but they've been wrapped and taped in cardboard. So they've come perfect. I've got a big kit coming from them tomorrow. So we'll I've said this now, and it'll be bloody flattened, won't it? But I know what you mean. They do tend to put the smaller, just chuck them in a bag.
My last 5 kits I brought from Jadlam. Sorry, Alex. They've all come in boxes.
Yeah. They've wrapped them in a box or like, you know, cardboard covering.
Or wrapped them in cardboard and then put in the bag.
Yeah. So, we can't bitch slap Jadlam because I've had a couple of kits off them as well, and it's come through pretty okay, to be honest. I've not had any issues. The last one I bought was the new, well, I wouldn't say new, but the Revell M109A2, which I'm reviewing. I've got some bump coming from Luke, but I actually do like that box art that they've done.
Is that an opening box?
It's a side opening box. But the only thing I've said to Luke is this confused me when I saw build and paint. I thought, oh, it comes in paint. No, it says build and paint, model kit, cement and paint not included. So it kind of threw me a bit because I just saw build and paint and I thought it comes with paint. But no, it doesn't. So bit of a confusion there. But I do like the clean look of the new box art. But anyway, we'll go into that when I do my review.
Remember, Moss, when you're out and you see a sexy looking woman, just because you think she looks sexy, it doesn't mean she's taking you home.
Exactly. Well,
Read the box and take it for granted.
Yeah. Can you really say that Tamiya makes the best kit? What about Armour Hobbies, Edard, Current Airfix, Copper State Models, Mini Art, Ryfield? Mini Art, Edard, you're quite right, but Edard don't really do their own tools as much as, you know, they borrow plastic of other manufacturers and give you every bit of aftermarket and whatever. They do their own kits, I get that. Armour Hobbies, you're quite right. I think the last 3 kits I've had from Armour Hobbies, they are very, very good. But again, their instructions are not that brilliant. Current Airfix, apart from, you know, the Typhoon that came out. But everything we've done so far with Airfix has been pretty much bang on. The only thing you could criticize again is a little bit of quality control, but they're getting on top of that. You know, fair to say that one of the first 50 kits that ended up in the country, poor Alex there had a shorter shot on that Sea King. So that's the first 50 that came out of that factory, and they paid to get them shipped over on the kit, and Alex had a short shot.
They flew them over, didn't they?
They flew them over, yeah. Like this Jaguar. No, I'm joking, I haven't really. Right, let's go down. But
Can I
yeah,
just-
you are.
Can I just say something? Chazza, yes.
Going back, yeah, you're quite right. I think Tamiya are resting on their laurels, and everybody's catching up.
Mm.
You know, I
Can I just say something? I'm sorry, I'm talking too much tonight.
no, carry on.
Show.
It's great.
They're not the best kits. Okay, it's like, when Jason used to say, Outlaw is the best paint. It's not the best paint if you're a figure painter.
Yeah,
It might be the best paint if you paint the bottom of a hull with a great big airbrush, but
Yeah.
it ain't the best paint if you're a figure painter or you want to hand paint a cockpit.
exactly.
They're not the best kits, but you can 99.9%, other than the Harrier and a couple of others, you can guarantee that you're going to get a kit with fantastic instructions, with fantastic plastic. It won't have any missing parts, and it will go together like a dream. And the other beauty of Tamiya is, if you've got a 15-year-old nephew, you can go and buy them pretty much any Tamiya kit under 30 quid, and they'll be able to build it.
Yeah,
But that's the thing. The reason Tamiya have their reputation is
Yeah.
consistency.
Yes.
So
If you
can
take
buy, as Nigel said, pretty much anything, and it doesn't matter whether it's a bike or a car or a plane or a tank, whatever it is, it'll be a consistent quality. It'll be good. It might not be the best of that type, but if you look overall, I mean, Edward are a crap, absolutely shit company if you build 1/35th scale armor, because they don't make them.
Yeah.
Tamiya are a crap company if you like 144 scale aircraft, because they don't make them. So what the best kit is a bit subjective, but theirs are consistent quality, consistent high quality. Because some companies make consistently bad kits, which is not what the consistency by itself isn't a quality. Consistently high quality across the range, regardless of what it is, and they do make some which are among the very best kits in the world. So when you set the bar high, a high standard, and you're making some which are above, you might be a little bit below, but they're always going to be within that little tight bar. Revell makes some nice kits. They also make some shocking kits. I mean, just a quick shout out to Nigel, because I got this because of his experience with it. I got the Revell 32nd scale Dorado.
You need the new one. You need the old one with the twin floats.
It's the same kit. It's just the different arrangement. I went for that one because it's on a couple of.
That's a lovely build, that.
Yeah.
But also, if you take a Tamiya kit from 1975 and an Airfix, a Revell, an Ichinari, Frog, any other manufacturer you want to mention from 1975, and I guarantee you the Tamiya kit will be an easier model to build. 100%.
Can I just put like a bit of petrol on the fire here? I've heard it said now by at least a dozen people that the Qatari Spitfire is the 1/32nd scale is the best Spitfire ever produced as a kit. The difference is that that's nearly 80 quid, where the Tamiya one is 55. Does that make a difference?
Tamiya one is at 55.
How much is it?
120 retail. I think.
120, is it? Is it the 148 that's 50 quid? So the 148 that's 50 quid.
Probably, yeah.
But people are saying that the Qatari one, they've built both, and they've said that the Qatari one was better than the Tamiya one, 1/32nd.
Yeah, I put together a Mark 1 mid when they first came out, the Qatari, and I also, prior to that, almost completed a Mark 16 Tamiya, and the Qatari was absolutely brilliant. The fit was outstanding. You know, it was beyond good, and it took it to another level. But it's not just that; it's the historical accuracy of the thing as well. You know, it's museum curators have a job to do to preserve history, and I think Qatari look at it in that way to a large extent as well. You won't on a 132 scale Spitfire, as far as I'm aware, see undercarriage indicators, for example. You know, the little pins that poke up out the wing. But on the Qatari, they gave you them. You know, you can put them in with a bit of wire if you want, but you had those kind of little details. That's what makes it different. There's stacks of little things like that. The other example I can give you is on the Mark 1 mids and the earlies. They used puttied rivets, which were surface mounted to keep the airflow smooth over the forward part of the fuselage and the wings. But then towards the back half of the fuselage, they stopped using surface mounted puttied rivets and used proud rivets. And this is precisely reflected in the Qatari kit.
And on the wing, isn't it?
Yeah, the wings were puttied anyway, so that they were smooth, and you've seen that there's no rivet markings there because there wouldn't have been such rivet markings.
The difference is, right? Qatari make like what they've got 3 kits,
4 or 5 now. I think they've brought out. I think they're bringing out.
The point is that they are a bespoke manufacturer, right? So it's a bit like comparing a one, like in car companies, right? If you think Tamiya is like the Mercedes or BMW or something, it's got that reputation. It makes a lot of different cars for a lot of different people, whereas Qatari are, a little company that make, I don't know, like Ariel, like they make fantastic car, but it's just like, this is it, they don't have a family hatchback. They don't have a Grand Tourer and everything.
That's a very fair point.
Anybody can, and just go the extra bit on the car analogy. If you think of it, Saab was a lot like that back in the day, and they went bust because when they became part of General Motors, they continued making. They wouldn't make General Motors vehicles as General Motors wanted them to make them because they thought they were crap. They were right, obviously. Yeah. They made them how they should be made, and it just wasn't cost effective. So it's different when you're operating a smaller company, how to make numbers work, and you can have high prices because it's bespoke, and your focus is the accuracy. It is to those higher, let's call them higher end modelers who that is important to, right? Because the majority of the modeling market doesn't care as much about that as, those. So the total available market is much smaller.
These are all excellent points. And the question I would ask in response to that is the cost of design essentially different? Do they have to do different things Tamiya to produce a Spitfire Mark 16 Spitfire than Richard had to do to produce a Mark 1A mid Spitfire? I would suggest not, because they both have to make a mold, which means they both have to research it. They both have to look at getting all those details right to a certain degree or another.
But the point is on that is time. It's like how much time you're going to invest in it. And time, you've got to pay somebody for that, somebody who knows their source, can do the LiDAR scanning or whatever it is to do it. So that element of it, time is the most expensive thing that most companies have, other than their fixed physical assets, but they're amortized over time. Employees are a constant ongoing cost. So that design element, absolutely, I'm sure will be more for Qatari than it will be for Tamiya.
Qatari is a very small company. It's owned by a veterinary surgeon.
Yeah.
I would also challenge you there, visitors. The Tamiya Spitfire is engineered in such a way as you can change the undercarriage, can't you? You can change the bombs. You can change it's got all plugs so you can take bits off and on, can't you? You can even have it on a stand and then you can have it on the floor.
Yeah, the Tamiya one certainly is. Yeah.
But you don't have that in the Qatari.
No.
You have all the engine and everything in the Tamiya. You don't have that in the Qatari. So I think the actual development cost of the Tamiya kit was probably far more expensive. But having said that, with Qatari being such a small company, they're almost like a cottage industry. You know, that's why it takes them so long to produce anything.
It makes you make a very good point about this, and I reasoned myself when I picked up the Qatari that I don't need an engine, don't ever display them, don't need this, don't need that, you know. And I've got a Mark 1 early now that I'll do some conversion work on, actually, as it happens, but that's much later. But my view on them was, you know, sort of local lad made good, bloody well done, good for you, you know. No questions about it.
And there's absolutely no doubt to us that Qatari is probably, I mean, if you look at it on a side-by-side basis with nothing else on the table, yeah, it probably is actually. Because what is a better model kit, I guess, is what I'm coming down to. Is it the absolute accuracy for a scale model? And some people that will be, yes, that is the number one thing. For other people, it would be like the flexibility, as Nigel said, to be able to do what I want with it. You know, it's still a Mark 1, but I want it to be, you know, on the stand, banking, dropping some bombs, you know. So then that makes the Tamiya kit a better kit. So it's a really nebulous thing, right? What is the best kit? Like, what is the best anything? It's always going to be subjective. You have to really define what that is.
And if you want the Mark 1, the Qatari is the best kit.
Yeah.
Because nobody else does one.
Yeah, a bit like the Tamiya 144 scale stuff. Like they're not in that race. You've got to be in it to win it, and they're not.
Take the other side of the scale. What about Tamiya? You know, their Yamato, the premium version Yamato. What a bag of shit that kit is. Why have they made the hull in two parts? Why does the hull screw together with about 15 different bloody sections and decks that screw in with metal brackets and all that, when every other ship manufacturer makes two hull halves? You know? And what you end up with the Tamiya kit is all these lovely screws and brackets and a shitload of gaps to fill with raised detail. You've got it's like, why? They've done the same with Megami. Why?
Do you think it's because Tamiya have always done it and they don't want to change?
But no, they didn't do it with their original 350th.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the Yamato.
But the original Yamato wasn't like that. They brought out this premium edition and made the hull out of it. They did a Kitty Hawk on it. They made the hull out of about 17 different sections. All with
improved.
Prove it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's happened on a fair few occasions with different companies. I mean, not just in models, hasn't it? Where they brought out an improved version, which is actually less than the original.
Yeah.
I mean, can I just pipe in with a question and an observation?
Yeah.
How many other than Tamiya, how many other model manufacturers do RC?
Revell.
Yeah.
So there's two. You've got Tamiya and Revell. Revell, we very rarely see anything. I've never heard of Revell doing RC. So I think personally, if Tamiya are going to go to promoting their RC for a change, and I use that term loosely, why not?
I think they've always promoted their RCD. I just think it used to be.
But they brought it forward rather than shoved it to slightly to the side and let the models come through.
Yeah.
Whereas this time, okay, everybody's picked up. Oh look, Tamiya, they're not putting models out this year. We'll do the RC stuff. But surely, if they've got two genres on the go, both model related, it's got to be a good thing that they're promoting something of their range.
Yeah, that's what the discussion is, though. It seems like everything they're bringing out is old re-releases.
Yeah.
In RC and plastic kits.
Mm.
Which isn't
Okay, I mean that was my observation. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a big RC builder, so
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I mean, I've built RC, I've built the big XL and stuff like that, a submarine back in the day. But as for whether it's up to date new stuff or not, I wouldn't know. But surely it's got to be a good thing that they're promoting something of what they are producing, old or new, because they're not the only company on the market that's producing older kits in new packaging.
Yeah. Oh, they've all done it over the years. They've all done it, but there's nothing exciting really for me that's come out from Tamiya in the last 3 years. And I remember when me and Alex did a podcast on it, and I think we both agreed that like the shine's come off Tamiya a little bit in the last 5 years.
Yes.
The
Just
shine
for-
has come off, and the thing is I'll go to you, John, next. But
Yeah.
when we say that this kit, when we talk about Airfix, and we say you could put this kit, like the Gannett, for instance, you could put that kit in a Tamiya box,
Yeah.
and nobody would know different. And I think that is a good thing. But I like to see that, you know, that it'd be nice to see Tamiya coming out with more, and just be a bit more innovative, and not just rest on their laurels. Because, like I said, that Walker Bulldog builds up absolutely fine, you know, with its 1970s kit. But wouldn't it be nice if they retooled a new one with, you know, a bit more accurate, a bit more detail in it, if you know what I mean?
Mars, that Walker Bulldog is 1969.
Yeah, I know. See, I knew it was 69. Yeah, I thought it was late 60s. But it'd be nice to see them instead of resting on selling that for, what was it, 11 quid, 12 quid.
Mm.
You know,
But if they're releasing older stuff, back in the day, all right, a lot of us were around when older stuff that is now was newer stuff to us back then. But surely, if they're releasing older stuff in nice, new, shiny packaging, it's to bring in younger hobbyists.
I don't think that's the market. I do not think that is Tamiya's market. Tamiya, what I gather, is they want to give them these things that are like educational to the youngsters. They are producing this sort of stuff for their youth. And in that article, he clearly says that they were giving the Ukrainian people, the kids, these type of things that they could build just using a screwdriver. Scale modeling is not that static kits is not Tamiya's market for youth. They want to sell them this sort of stuff, like the penguin that we saw on their official website,
Or the duck.
or the duck. Is it the penguin or the duck? In it,
Penguin. Yeah, this year's the penguin.
yeah, you know.
They did
So
a Beetle as well, didn't they?
yeah,
See that car you've just shown with them side wheel bumpers? I
yeah,
remember building them over
Yes, so do I.
15 years ago.
yeah. And they're
Well
still,
over 15 years ago.
yeah, they call it the 4-wheel drive. They do.
Yeah, you used to have an oval track for them.
Yeah,
That's right.
they're massive. This is the Honda. What they call it, the Honda E-Civic or whatever, or the Honda something, isn't it?
Mm.
Not being funny, I remember building those 35 years ago.
Yeah. This is the Honda 2, this is Honda E.
Moss, Jim Brook has got a question just before the one you've highlighted, which I think bears comment.
Yeah, I was going back to him anyway. Yeah, do you not think that maybe Tamiya have got their market for the highest skill, detail-hungry models for the older modeler maybe spot on, as is the population demographic for Japan? No.
So I fundamentally disagree with that premise, because Tamiya kit is not aimed. It's not higher skill. it's lower skill. Yes,
Yeah.
the skill is built into the kit, so anybody can make them. That's why you say you shake the box and it puts itself together.
Yeah.
Detail hungry. They're good out of the box. They've got great molding and detail, but the detail hungry older modeler, I doubt, is just building out of the box Tamiya stuff. That's the kind of stuff that they will think of as a relaxing build. Detail hungry modelers, for armor, for instance, they're going to mini art, those kind of companies, Ryfield model. That's where the high detail, higher skill people are, and then they're adding to those as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think that is the target market for Tamiya. I think it is more it's the middle ground, right? It's the people who want to make a detailed model, but they don't necessarily feel, and it's a confidence thing, I think, maybe, the developing modeler who wants to do that. Okay, I can put Tamiya together and it looks fantastic, even though I'm just getting started. I've got 5-6 models under my belt. I put this together. Wow, I know that the limitation is my painting or whatever, so I can work on that. I think it's that market, and the Tamiya kit can serve you in that, sort of area for a very long time, because you can add detail to them. You can grow with it. You can make that same kit many times, and that, I think, is their strategy. Is you capture people after they've come through the Airfix starter kits and all of that.
Yeah.
Tamiya is this ubiquitous name, so it's just like, oh, I'll try one of those. They probably get one of the newer kits because it's probably in the model stores or online because it's the kit of the moment, and then they get that hook. I think once you've gone through 10, 15 years of that, then maybe you are looking at, and it does become very blinkered. I've had a lot of people in the shop who won't look at anything other than Tamiya, or haven't, and they're looking for recommendations. What are these kits like? What is a Ryfield model like? But that's 10, 15 years of Tamiya kits they bought.
Yeah.
Which is a big chunk, right?
I just want to add to that, and the reason I agree with Alex on this point is that if you go to a scale model show and they have a competition and they have, and I've seen it firsthand, they have armor out of the box, armor modified. 95% of those kits will be in the modified competition than in the out of the box. There's very few. I would have won that competition with that Walker Bulldog if it was out of the box, because that was I didn't put any mat, just built it, out of the box, did a good job on it, I believe. But on the flip side, everyone who does armor, if they build a Tamiya, they would have bought even the tracks. They would have bought aftermarket tracks. Probably would have put a steel barrel on it as well, because the barrels are a bit iffy on Tamiya kits. I mean, I can't talk about experience, but talking to people who build armor, a lot of them won't even look at Tamiya now for an armor kit. They'll go to mini art.
You've only got to look back at the 90s when, that's where Rubio barrels started, and all the turned metal stuff started coming out. When the predominant armor kits on the market were Tamiya,
Yeah. When I came back into modeling, I was and I showed off a Tamiya kit, and somebody said, "Oh, you're doing a snap together." It says a lot for itself, doesn't it? Because they literally all together.
Yeah. Do you not think that Tamiya might not be able to compete with the likes of Ryfield and Takum and maybe taking themselves in a different direction? No. Which is exactly what Nigel and I were discussing last night. Are they looking at a different direction because of the likes of these other model companies that are coming in big? But they're not cheap. Ryfield models isn't cheap, is it? Takum models are not cheap.
Let's just say this, right? This kit, this Paladin, which I finished, is a few quid. This was sent to me by lovely John Alec up there. This came all the way from America. I think this is about £40 in the UK. It has workable tracks, workable suspension, metal barrel, loads of photo etch.
Yes.
You don't need anything else for it. And it goes together. There's a couple of issues in the instructions, but, it goes together like a dream. If Tamiya produced that, it would be $69.99. You'd need to buy aftermarket tracks. you'd need to buy a metal barrel if you don't. I mean, I don't understand why people want metal barrels, to be honest, because it's basically gluing two bits of plastic together and standing out a seam. What's the problem? And it wouldn't be as well detailed as this. It'd be a much simpler build, and it would go together a lot quicker. But it would be over twice the price. That Yamato, that premium Yamato, if you buy the Tamiya metal barrels, wooden deck, stanchions, degaussing cable, and whatever else you can get from Tamiya, to bring that up to somewhere close to the Verifier, it's £320. The Verifier is £260, and that comes with a load of 3D printed resin as well, on top of everything else that you're getting. So,
yeah,
and it's got a two-piece hole that goes together.
yeah.
I think another thing that Tamiya are probably, somebody commented earlier, Tamiya will get overtaken, and I think that's happening.
Yeah.
The only trouble is there's nobody doing it in the car world. Because nobody's...
The curbside models, they do quite well.
But yeah, just saying, I didn't realize it was that cheap. I thought that one that you just had then was a bit more expensive. I thought it'd be a bit more expensive than Tamiya, but fair enough. As I said, I was talking about older kits, if you know what I mean, like, you know, the stuff that they've released previous.
I always say this, don't I? That's what I love about Tamiya, the old prices. You can still get that 148 Harrier for about $12.99.
Yeah.
Well, not being funny, you can still get this kit for.
Five Eyes is not watching. I think if Tamiya tried to compete against RFM, Tamiya would price themselves out the market. Look at the 148 F14; it's like 150 Canadian dollars, and Great Wall Hobbies is 99 to 120 Canadian dollars.
You can get that lump for £13.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
I just want to say, if 5A's watching, he follows me all the time. You've made a really good point. The difference there is Tamiya kit is a really, really 195% excellently engineered kit, practically put together without glue. Probably anyone pretty much that's built a few kits can build it. The Great Wall Hobby is going to have fit issues. It doesn't have any weapons.
Yeah.
But it also has all the flaps and everything. You can have it all hanging out if you want to, whereas it doesn't. And remember, when the Great Wall Hobby kit came out, in America, the Tamiya was $110, I think, and the Great Wall Hobby was $200.
Okay.
Ooh. Over here, the Great Wall Hobby is over £100, but you can get them for like $49.99 because no one's buying them. So the Tamiya kit is you got Tamiya, AMK, Great Wall Hobby, Hasegawa. Without a doubt, as a model to put together for your average model, the Tamiya is without doubt the best.
Yeah.
The AMK is quite stunning, but I haven't built it, so I don't know. But the Great Wall Hobby, I think, would probably come out tops. But I don't like their instructions. Those 3D CAD images, I don't like them. I'd much rather have Airfix instructions.
Yeah. So then, this is a good question by Shed Jim. Nice to see you, Shed Jim. I haven't seen you for a while. Are Tamiya kits more aimed at the kitchen table modeler rather than the skilled scale modeler? That's a good question. Yeah.
Well, I think they are, as I alluded to in my earlier statement, they're kind of aimed so that anybody, like the kitchen table modeler, can do them, but the skilled scale modeler can also obviously do that and add to it. So if you want to make a really sing out diorama, you can start with the Tamiya kit, and you can just build it up quickly. It's not going to present you any problems, and then you can go to town on it, telling the story you want to. Like thinning down an armor piece and puncturing it, or adding a bunch of stuff. Whatever you want to do, rather than having to spend a whole bunch of time doing individual track links, for instance. Which you might not want to do. It might not be relevant for your diorama or whatever. So I think they cover a broad spectrum, which is one of the reasons they've gained such popularity, because you can revisit stuff. You can make the same kit as a beginner, as an intermediate, as an advanced modeler, and put very different spins on it.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, Simon's just made a comment there about Tamiya's 132nd Corsair is 120. Yeah, get Revels for. I mean, that's like comparing a Sunday lunch to a packet of crisps.
Well, I would say more like comparing Sunday lunch to Sunday lunch the day after
Yeah.
in the toilet, because that is a bag of shit. That 132nd Corsair.
Yeah, I mean, you compare the Trumpeter 132nd Corsair to the Tamiya. If you want to build something with nice flappy wings, then
Well, I mean, the Revell one, it's just like you have to choose wings folded or flat. Good luck if you choose them flat, because you have to add so much stuff to try and stop them from drooping. It's a toy. It's not a kit.
Mike Lexi.
Yeah.
Ben says demo.
If you say you sorry, John. Hang on, John, what were you saying?
I'm sorry?
I was just going to ask you, for comparison reasons, have Revell released anything new in their RC market?
Going by the catalogue, which is a rarity, not really. But they seem to they've got quite a few. But they're doing this new range called, I think it's called Robo Friends, in their range. Control.
See
They
how
want one
it's
scale.
got a lot of them.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Robo Friends are the first two releases, Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves.
No, I think they're Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump.
Robo Fiends.
Apparently they're holding hands going into the Chinese restaurant.
Nothing really to write home about, and it doesn't say they're new in here. The stunt loader is quite a little fun little thing to have. They got the RC boats. Then they're all water based. Nothing. No, I don't think nothing new in here.
So do you think Revell are doing the same as Tamiya with their RC? They're just bringing out the same stuff in newer boxes, and
yeah,
you just know what you want to do.
I mean, that's just Revell's mantra for a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of it saying new in here, but when it means new, does it mean new tooling? That's the problem, isn't it?
No, yeah. I mean, if you look, Moss, in that catalogue, most of the stuff that is new, well, anything that says new is not new tooling.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it has resided on a shelf somewhere, and it is new this year. That's what they mean. So they've got the Messerschmitt P1099A, right, which is the heavy fighter development of the 262. You know, it's a project in the P series. That's a 1990s kit. It's a really nice kit. It's from that time when they actually made nice kits, but it's not new. It's like 30 years old practically.
What did I do with that little box that I had here, which I thought was, I had a box here from Revell, the 144 scale kits they're bringing out this year, and I thought if those micro wings, I thought to myself, if anything like that, they're terrible. They look awful in the box. I don't know how you could build them.
I have to say, I'm giving
A lot of those microwave kits weren't Revell anyway, were they?
But I will say, their 32nd range of aircraft, forget the Corsair and all that. I mean, the Beaufighter and everything. But when you look at their Heinkel 111, their Junkers 88, their HE 219, what else was there? I think that was it, wasn't it? Those three.
They had the Matchbox ones, didn't they?
They did the Matchbox, but Revell's own, they were absolutely fantastic kits for a bargain price. I mean, they were like 30% of the cost of a Tamiya kit, and they were almost as good. You know, but then they brought out the 132nd scale F-18. I mean, oh dear.
And the Mark Spitfire.
Mark II Spitfire. They did a Mark 9 as well, didn't they?
They were out of the same mold.
But but no, the F-18 was just bad in every way.
That's they're re-releasing these. They call them micro wings, don't they?
I mean, they're years.
And that's what you get. That's
What
it.
scale are they? Are they 144?
144, yeah. But they re-release it. I don't even know why they're bothering re-releasing them. You know, but they've got the tool in. And
The
they're
only decent kit in that range that I've built is the Tempest.
Tempest.
The rest are absolute garbage.
I don't think there's any decals with them either, is there?
Mind you, the
Oh, yes.
Tempest was never armed with Sneb rockets, but the whole kit was.
But is that swastika on there? Oh no, maybe not.
I'd say this word.
They can't be that accurate actually for the swastika. No, they can't.
Yeah, I thought there was him. It wasn't. There, someone else. Maybe look twice though. They make me look twice. But yeah, that's what I'm saying is that, you know, and they're releasing this year. You know, with the yeah, it's I don't know. Ravel. I think Ravel. You know, now they've got Luke on board. I think, you know, he'll be able to kick up some dirt and tell them what they're doing. So, Nigel, I've just built the Ravel 132nd Spitfire Mark II.
Yeah.
How'd you get on with that? That'd be good. If you got, how'd you get on with it, Simon? Was it good?
I built it. I quite enjoyed building it, but it isn't very accurate.
Question. I think Tamiya have become very stable. They are sticking to what they know, but also don't price people with a low budget out of the hobby. But then you can say that about Airfix with their older tool and their smaller tool in 1/72nd scale. You know, I think you've got to look at what you get in a box to decide on how much you pay. You know, that Gannet, for instance. All right, the Buccaneer, we'll even talk about the Buccaneer because we all know that was very rich, wasn't it, from FX?
Yeah.
But the Gannet, I think that was rightly priced. I think the Chinook was rightly priced. I think the starter sets at £14.99 are rightly priced. The ME 410, good price for what's in the box.
You can still get a Series 1 Airfix kit for £7.
Yeah, you get Vintage Classic for £6.99.
Yeah. But talking about what Alex was talking about earlier on about Revell not bringing out new stuff, how old do you think the mold is on that?
That P51D 1950.
That's awful. That P51D.
It's a crap kit.
Yeah, but
It's
how old?
really,
It's the original. Yeah, it's the original Mustang tooling.
Yeah.
In the 50s.
And yet they do a P51B, which was
lovely.
from the 90s, which is actually quite nice.
It's really nice. Yeah, it is.
But how much did you pay for that kit, though?
This one, I got it for free.
Like I say, somebody gave it to you, so they didn't have to build.
Somebody
But
sent it me.
But I reckon that kit's 9-10 quid.
Yeah, it probably is. Probably about $8.99. Yeah.
Because, you know, we know that Revell are going down that market because they're offering that Messerschmitt 109 for £9.99.
Yeah.
Brand new tooling, simplified. You know, so yeah.
But they've got too many old toolkits in their cheaper range. Far too many.
Yeah.
But I mean, they still do the bloody harbour tug. I see it in the price list. I looked at it today, actually, because I was going to put a Revell order in. And, yeah, that bloody harbour tug.
Haven't they re-released the fishing trawler as well?
That's ICM.
No, not the... they've done it like the old one.
The old fishing trawler, yeah, from the 50s.
Not the good one, the old one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But why release that old one when they've got that one that's ICM? It's brilliant. I've built it.
I was quite amused actually to see in the Revell catalogue one of the new things they've got in their 35th scale stuff is a new Hummer, and they've just reused the ICM artwork. They've not even changed it.
No.
I thought that's pretty bad.
Yeah. The Revell ME 109 in 140 is going to be kicking around in the 70s. Yeah. You know, actually, yeah, you'd be surprised on how many old toolings, you know, it's been, you know, you can go into Revell and there's a certain tool. I'm not going to say which one, but there's a tool that's been reboxed 40 times since it's been released. Yeah. Yeah. But going back to the base question is Tamiya going in a different direction? I'm going to say yes. Going by that article, by that president, and what's going on at the moment, I think they're investing in their Filipino factory. Can you say Filipino without being slapped?
No, that's
Yeah, I
fine.
think so, yeah.
Fine, yeah, okay. I'm trying to make sure that I haven't said anything derogatory. Like
No.
I get confused these days.
I
You
think
know,
it's a nicer name than some of the names you
Yeah.
could give.
yeah.
You know.
So you've got that.
No.
They're investing in the factories for distribution. They're pushing the educational market because the chairman has said children need to learn how to build things with their hands, which is very true.
Yeah.
And thirdly, the amount of RC being pushed onto your screens from TAMIYA, I think that the actual static kits is what they like to call them,
Mhm.
is the least of their worries. And they think if we could release like I said, they're going to release the Lightning. Well, they boxed the Atari one, didn't they?
Yeah.
At some point, and nobody complained then. They just did, and they have reboxed other people's. The RAH-66 helicopter. Is it the Comanche? I think it was called.
Yeah.
That was a Tallery. They reboxed that and sold a few of them as well.
Yeah,
I just think it was uninspired that they went for that Lightning. Very uninspired.
I think there's something about radio control that nobody's mentioned. When you build a static kit, you buy it, you build it, paint it, and then it sits on your shelf forever and a day. When you buy a radio controlled car, you're sending off to TAMIYA for spares forever and a day. And I think TAMIYA look at that and they're thinking, well, we can make probably the same amount of money again every 2 or 3 years out of that.
I mentioned this briefly earlier on.
Yeah, earlier on he said that. Yeah.
Wheels and God only knows what, steering.
Spares are going to be a big item, and it's like real cars. The markup on spares on real cars is 15 times what it is.
Oh yeah.
But I also think that like with the TAMIYA extra thin, people we'll pay £4 a bottle for that, and you use £4.50 a bottle. Okay, but we're getting more savvy now, because even now you got ammo. Was it ammo? Are bringing out a refillable. You buy the plastic bottle, and it's like 4 times what you pay for cheap. You got 4 times the amount you would pay for TAMIYA for about £5 a bottle. So people are getting savvier at that. So, but I don't quite. I see that point. Basically, it's dentist mentality. The dentist will only take a tooth out if it's absolutely necessary. Because if they take a tooth out, they lose any profit from you. They can't. You can't go back and get it done. So
there was a time when Rolls didn't make any money on the engines they sold. They made the money on the spares.
Yeah.
And I knew of situations where parts for Concorde were sold to British Airways a lot cheaper than they were sold to Air France.
Yeah.
Were they?
Good.
I wonder if that's when the Air France one came down and the BA ones didn't.
Yeah. Right, folks. For the last 15 minutes, anybody in the chat want to ask the panel any questions? You got 5 minutes to get them in. Put QQQ at the beginning, and then we'll answer them. Make sure you aim it at some of the panel as well. QQQ, apologies. An unrelated question. I need to plunge mode a new canopy with acetate. What should I use to make the mode from the old canopy? Crumbs.
You can buy some. It's reshapeable plastic. You just put it in hot water. It's thermosetting. Amazon sell it. It's pretty cheap. You can make a mold of your canopy with that, and then you can fill that with whatever, like plaster or something, and then use that for your plunge mold.
I saw a video on that on YouTube recently, and it might be worth scouring YouTube.
Yeah,
because it explains how to do it as well. It was very interesting.
Question. Do you think that kit building would be a useful addition to the school curriculum in terms of learning, design, problem solving, etc.? Crumbs, if Airfix are doing everything they can to get kits in a child's hand. You got the Cubs and the Scouts have a badge now that they could build a model and get a badge for doing it. But also you got to remember that schools haven't got the budgets anymore. They'd rather spend it on technology like computers so they can, keep everything all in house that way than spend £8 on a model. And also teachers have got to be able to build them themselves to show them how to do it, if you know what I mean.
I think our education system has some deeper issues.
Yeah,
I was thinking of how I could put that, and you did it perfectly, Alex.
yeah.
I mean, on the positive side, I mean, I put up on the channel a while ago about the guy who had come into the shop. He had bought a kit, an ICM kit, and some other stuff, which he'd left at the shop to donate to a younger modeler. I had a guy come into the shop with his son. He's come in a few times before, and one of the things that they asked me to do, and the reason he was coming in that time, was to fill his Duke of Edinburgh bronze certificate. So he did model making as part of that. So he came in and asked me to look at how his skills were changing and stuff during that time. So there are people out there, there are kids out there that have an interest in model making, and there are outlets for them to exercise that. It's just for all of us to support those, really, I think. I don't think the schools are the way to do it.
No.
We did it in my school. Did it in my senior school. We did modelling because I did a lesson called aviation.
Yeah, but I bet you did other stuff as well, Nigel, like woodworking and like metalworking and stuff.
In this lesson, aviation studies, we used to talk about, because of course I was at Filton High School, and right next door was British Aerospace and Rolls-Royce. So there was a lesson, aviation studies, for those that were interested. And we used to talk about, the history and the science around flight, and then we did modelling as well. We made models.
Yeah. I think the closest I got to making models at school was a paper plane, that was it. I can make a great Concorde. Yeah. I think that, like I said, why don't you teach me about stocks and shares and investment than Pythagoras theorem that I don't think I've ever used, or how to get the angles from a rhombus. I've never used that, but it's one of them, isn't it? Like I keep saying to people, in theory, there's only 4 hours of the day of education, isn't it? Or maybe maximum of 5 hours in a day. And then they expect you to teach your kids after school as well by doing homework, which should all be done in school. But,
Yes.
It's there's always going to be that poverty gap. They keep,
Can I just... A lot of it, though, is also developing a curious mind, I think, is the most critical thing any parent or school can give a child. Because if you can't teach somebody who doesn't want to learn, right? And I'm sure all of us, after school or whatever, we went to the library, we got books out and stuff we were interested in. Where, my uncles had books on World War II. That's where I first kind of got into the history aspect. Same with wargaming, and all of that kind of thing. So if you can develop a curious mind, you'll go out and find your own stuff.
Yeah.
If you just develop, it's okay, Johnny or whatever, go and sit in front of the TV, or here's your iPad.
Yeah. Where would the panel go on, Nigel?
I was just saying, related to what Zinnes was saying earlier. This Tamiya Mustang GT4, if you look on the side of the box there, that is all extras. Tamiya extras you can buy.
Yeah.
So, they're pumping it down your throat even before you buy the bloody thing.
Yeah.
So they do that with their motorcycles.
Absolutely.
The 1/12 motorcycles.
Yeah.
All these extras. You don't get the extras.
Just to try and answer Jim Brooks' question.
Wait, John. John was speaking then, John.
Oh, sorry.
Carry on,
mate.
No, it's okay. I was just ending the thought that they sell all the motorcycle extras for their kids.
Yeah.
If you buy them, fantastic. And if you don't, Go ahead, John.
eBay is quite a good source of getting hard to find kits, but you have to be very wary about what you're buying. I've been after one of these probably for the best part of 2 years. and I found one on eBay for 20 quid. But it's been started, so and not very well. But, as I said, you do, you can find stuff on eBay. You can also find stuff at boot sales. A lot of times, people go to boot sales. They haven't got a clue what they've got.
Yeah. The other thing is auctions.
And auctions, yeah.
So if you've got an auction house near you, quite often they'll have like collections of like old Airfix kits and stuff. eBay, I got that today.
There you go.
Oh, I built the Hussar.
10th British Hussar. Thought I'd give that a bit of a go. Something a bit different.
Also,
So you can find them.
Moss has mentioned Vinted as well before.
Yeah, Vintage good.
How
Got
good
some
they are.
Vintage.
Yeah.
And Veteranus models.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was on there this week, right? And I was quite surprised on what the money go for. 3-point fueler about to be released by Airfix this week is on the way to me in a box, and the guy would put 22 quid down on the bid on it. I think only $17.99 free postage from Airfix.
Crazy.
Yeah, mine's
Yeah, auction venom. I'll buy it on auction. Yeah.
FOMO, isn't it? Fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out, definitely.
Yeah, plus they get in the competition between two people, and that kit suddenly becomes twice as much as what it should be.
Yeah. King Kit was mentioned. King Kit is hit and miss, but also just put search in eBay and then save the search. Every so often I look at when a Ferguson tractor in its box comes up went for 600 quid. But also there's a Stingray up for grabs at a local auction house as well.
Hasn't that sold?
27th of March that goes up for auction.
Does that?
I reckon that'll go for £1,000.
Probably, yeah.
I've set aside 600 to buy it.
Did you see that Airfix Southern Cross that was on eBay a couple of years ago?
No, I didn't see that a couple of years ago. I've said
he wanted 650 quid and it didn't even have a box.
The other bot, it was just tightly built as well, wasn't it? Somebody sent me a picture. Somebody sent me a picture.
I've just got to put a bid on this Stingray 650. There you go.
Yeah,
the 01. Don't forget the 01.
That's it. I don't know. I've got 650 I put aside, so I might bid up to that, but I reckon it will go for 1,000. If I get it for 650, I'll be well happy.
Less.
But that won't be the most expensive thing I bought from Airfix in my collection. So there you go. I recently bagged a 124th FW190 kit listed as spares repairs. Turned out to be a full kit. Full ones are going for 150 quid. I paid £28 plus postage and packing. Result. There you go.
You'll spend more than that in glue to put it together.
Yeah. Well,
I just did the absolute opposite of that.
Did you?
Yeah. I bought a kit that wasn't complete. I got the guy refunded half the money, to be fair, and then Airfix the spares. So
cracking debate tonight. Thank you, and see you on next one. Thanks, Graham EO. That's brilliant. Nice to see you, my friend. But yeah, I think we've come to the conclusion that Airfix are going in all sorts of directions. Quick, last 5 minutes. Any more questions? Anything? Anybody on the panel got anything to add to tonight's debate? Say it now, or forever hold your peace.
What you bought this week, Moss?
Oh well, I haven't bought anything per se, but this has come out of the attic.
You both of them.
I've been told they're different kits. Okay,
they are loosely the same kit.
The same fuselage and everything's the same.
No, it
is the same fuselage.
No.
How do you know? I've got them here. I'll prove to you now they're the same fuselage.
Did you buy them second hand, boss?
Yeah.
I've got a 52 here I bought second hand, and it's got 2 right hand fuselage halves.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought an RE8 like that once years ago.
Yeah. That's like your Gigant, Nige.
Sorry?
That's like the Gigant you built.
Yeah. No. God, you got a good memory, James.
He's got an incredible memory.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you put them together, they are exactly the same.
Are they really?
And inside,
Slightly different.
inside is 40, part 42 and part 37. 42,
Same fuselage.
37. Open this one up. There you go, look at
I
that.
thought they had different.
37, 42. Okay, and also the creme de la creme.
They are different. You
They're
just
not.
proved they're different.
Yeah, they're different.
Right.
Yeah, the two
One's
different
green,
colours.
one's blue.
One's green, one's blue. So on here, it does say Airfix. But if I get to focus in, it will say on here the tooling. Oh, come on, zoom in.
It was the same year because they were both released the same year, weren't they?
75 and 76.
Were they?
And they're exactly the same on both parts. That one says 70, 75. This one also says 70. Is that 75? 75.
Yeah, I
75.
thought they were both released the same year. I'm sure they were.
I think I said 75 anyway. Hang on.
But yeah, they are.
That one says 76. Yeah, they're saying 76, right? But on the box, it says 175 and 176. So they were basically they are the same tooling. They're not different tooling. They're the same tooling. Just added parts to make one naval, one.
The Army and the Navy links, yeah.
Yeah. See, this one says 1975 on the side of the box, 1975, and this one says 1976.
God, I nearly ate both of them boxes then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I need to speak to Emma
Got a
because
nosebleed now.
I think they just got different parts in. They just got different parts, but they're not the same kit. They're not different kits. So when I said that the Navy links, and I did say the timeline, it should be that way. It should be the Army came first, then the Naval. So yeah, but allegedly, but looking at the fuselage halves or whatever you want to call them, the cockpit and everything, they are exactly the same, even the same numbers on the inside. And James said they were different, but they're not.
No, we were talking about the 148 scale one was.
No, it's about the 172. I'm on about the 170.
I picked up that yesterday, Moss.
I've got one of them. I've got one of them.
Right.
Does that come with the clear inside as well?
Yeah.
I'll let you know now. It's not an easy kit to build.
Oh, that looks really nasty.
Yeah.
Who makes that?
Shima.
Aoshima.
Airfix.
Yeah.
Well,
So yeah.
Gosh.
Ross,
Yes.
They mean bike kits as well, John.
What's that, mate?
They do mean bike kits as well.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
That's tiny.
That is tiny.
350th.
Wow. Is that in that Airfix box?
No, isn't that the helicopter that come out of your 4R? Yeah, Type 42, isn't it? Yeah.
Wow.
And it's got folded blades and photo etch blades as well.
God.
That's
I
impressive.
saw your review on that, Nigel. It looks amazing.
It's sold out everywhere now.
Yeah.
Now the 172nd links it is the link that we on the I did a video about the Airfix history of the helicopters.
Yeah.
And people kept saying, "Oh, you forgot the Army one," and I said, "No, it's on the timeline, but the timeline's wrong." And I think that it's basically the same kits but new parts for the naval. So I'm going to do an unboxing of both so you can see the difference between the two. Anyways, folks, it's gone 10 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you, James. Thank you, John Alec. Thank you, Dave from Sprue and Glue. Thank you, Joffy. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Alex. And finally, thank you, Nigel, for turning up. Love to Dotty, by the way. We will see you next week. Hang on. Dotty's got to make a mention. There she is.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, go, Dotty.
She's in season.
oh dear.
Yes.
Anyway, folks.
Pablo's jealous. He never gets a shout out.
No, he doesn't get a shout out.
Oh.
Anyway, folks. Well, John Alex's dog won't because I saw a YouTube clip today. Apparently, it chewed a pen on the sofa.
Here he comes.
Is that right, John? It chewed a pyro on the sofa.
What's an ice cream? All right.
Anyways, catch you all soon. Take care and goodbye.
See you again,
Bye-bye.
Nigel.